Good day, gentlemen, and welcome to another Payday 2 video. This time we're going to be interviewing, wow, I am such a fucking idiot, not even 10 seconds later, good god. Anyway, hello and welcome to another Payday 2 video. This time I am going to be overviewing a DLC that has probably become one of the top 5 best ones in the entire game in my opinion. It has sort of changed the game in a way where it's just like, it brought in one weapon that a lot of people are just like using, even to this day. Why am I saying that in the most British way? But what the weapon pack are we going to be overviewing? We're going to be overviewing the Gage Russian pack. Now, the Gage Russian pack is probably one of the top 5 best weapon packs that has been ever released in Payday 2. In my opinion, of course. And this was released in March 23rd of 2017. And it introduced the 3 weapons, 3 new masks, and 1 new melee weapon. But let us begin with the primary weapons that comes to this weapon. There's the AK-17, or which is the AK-12 in real life, the Grom sniper rifle, or better known as the Dragunov, and for our secondary we have the Tatonka SMG, or better known as the PPSH. PPSH, the PP Bison. God damn, I'm such a fucking idiot. I mean, come on, be honest. There's so many fucking Russian SMGs that are just like named PP. There's the PP this, PP that, and who knows what other PPs they are. That sounds extremely wrong, but let's just. I'm getting out of topic. But dumbass. Let's talk about the weapons first. But first, let me just go into a small history of each of the weapon every time I talk about them. Now, the AK-17. Or the AK-12, is one of the latest variants created of the AK rifle, developed to be the new service rifle for the Russian Federation military. It was developed by Kalashnikov concern and was tested in 2010, and fully became a project in 2011 and tested in the Ratnik trails for the future infantry combat systems. The rifle was put in service in 2018 and mainly saw combat in the Ukraine war, where most of the users complained about its inefficiency. Now, despite it being very more focused on modernized, a lot of the soldiers prefer the original AK-47 due to its easier disassemblement and higher caliber that it shoots out. But there were like a couple soldiers that also prefer the AK-12. And so, the AK-17 is a high damage assault rifle with the statistics of these. You're able to unlock this at level 16 and it costs about $350,000. The statistics are these. The magazine size is 35, your reserve ammo is 105, the rate of fire of the weapon is 652, the damage is 99, the accuracy is at 60, with the stability of 60, the concealment of 16, and that's pretty much it. And so, how was the weapon exactly? This is probably one of the top 3 best assault rifles in the game so far, because there's a lot of people that use it, because despite being a high damage rifle, the ammo capacity of this, both in the magazine and the reserve, is pretty solid. You're not going to have any problems running out of ammo with this anytime soon, but the only problem about this is the rate of fire, but it's not really that much big of an issue to begin with. Although that could just be me, simply. But the AK-17 is an extremely well-rounded rifle that is capable of dashing out huge amounts of damage in a short time. And because of its decent accuracy and decent stability, you're able to dash out high amounts of damage, even at further distances that you normally won't be able to hit. But there are a few modifications that the AK-17 doesn't have, unlike the rest of the AKs. It does not contain a barrel. Or like you cannot change this into a DMR in a way, or like have a bigger barrel. You cannot change the front grip of the AK-17, unlike the other AK rifles. The only thing that you have is the basic barrel extensions, suppressors, muzzles, and etc. You have your optics, your LED flashlights or laser sights, extended magazine size or the speed pull mag. You're able to change the foregrip, like the grip of the weapon. You're also able to change the stock, and so on and so on. The weapon itself is extremely solid and very good, and it's probably one of the best assault rifles in the game. Well, not the #1 best, but it's definitely one up there somewhere. And so, you're able to sort of, you run this with any build. You're able to run this in a stealthy build, you're able to use this in a crit build. This rifle is just basically a jack-of-all-trades type of weapon. And the animation of the weapon and the sounds are very phenomenal. However, it is fucking ugly. Like, good god, it is the most hideous fucking AK I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, that's it about the AK-17. Overall, it's a very solid weapon and extremely good. and there's not much else to complain about it. Except for the ammo pickup, which is sort of difficult. Well, it's not difficult, but it's just like, it sort of struggles. And that's pretty much it. Let's move on to the Grom, aka the Dragunov. The SVD, made by the Yevgenev Dragunov, which won a trial in 1963 and being put into service as a new marksman rifle for the Soviet Army. The production was carried by Kalashnikov concern, and the weapon went out to be modernized with the SVD-MM, and it went to become one of the most popular and reliable sniper rifle, even to the likeness of Saddam Hussein, who displayed a gold-plated SVD in one of his places in Iraq. The sniper rifle is extremely effective, don't get me wrong, in Payday 2, but I'm not a huge fan. Now, the Dragunov as an actual weapon in real life, I love it. I actually adore it, but in Payday 2, it's not exactly my favorite, and I'll get into that why. The Grom sniper rifle, or I'm gonna call it the SVD, is a low-damage sniper rifle that has a magazine capacity of 10, reserve ammo of 40, rate of fire of 150, damage of 160, accuracy of 72, stability of 4, concealment of 16, and a threat of 12. But we don't talk about that. And so, why am I saying that this is not exactly my favorite sniper rifle? Well, because of its lower damage, you are not able to one-shot the heavy units in death sentence difficulty, because you're required to have the Berserker Ace skill and have your health at least be approximately 20%, because even if you do have a Frenzy Basic, or even Ace for that matter, that damage bonus that you're going to have immediately at the beginning of the heist is not going to be enough to kill them, and so you have to literally put yourself in a corner and damage yourself to the point where you can actually deal some damage. And now you might be thinking, well, there are also different types of sniper rifles that are better than this, like the Lebensauger, or like the Contractor, and so on. But what is exactly different with this? This one is much more concealable, to say at least. I would say, in my opinion, this is one of the most concealable sniper rifles in the, or like low damage sniper rifles in the game, because there are not a lot of customizations for this, other than the fact you can have a suppressor. You can like have a shorter barrel, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't used the sniper rifle in so long, so I don't really care for it. You can change the front grip of it to like a plastic type, to like have more concealment at the cost of stability. You can also change in the stock of the weapon, and you can also get rid of the scope if you want more concealment. So this sniper rifle is extremely concealable, and the only downside about it is the fact that it doesn't really one-shot them unless you have Berserker Aced and reach to a threshold where you can one-shot them. But is the sniper rifle good? Yes, it is probably one of my favorite sniper rifles, if I use it, of course. I don't use the Contractor, I don't use the Lebensauger because they're too fucking boring, they're overrated as shit. Argue with me. And so if I'm actually using a sniper rifle, like a low damage, I would go with the SVD, or the Grom. And so, and another thing I should also mention is that majority of the sniper rifles that have a high zoom scope, every time you shoot, whenever you're aiming through a scope, they will like sort of sway away every time you shoot. But the Grom doesn't really do that. It sort of stays static a lot when you shoot. And so you're able to hit multiple targets without like losing your aim, to say at least. And in order to unlock these, you have to be level 46, and it costs about $921,000. Holy fucking shit. Jesus Christ. I didn't know Russian weapons were this expensive, but either way. And so, let's talk about the PP Bison, or better known as the Tatanka. I'm going to have my friend explain the statistics of the weapon, and here it is.
The PP Bison, otherwise known as the Tatanka in-game, is an iconic gun with a unique cylindrical magazine that holds 64 rounds. You can dual-wield the Bison as a primary, or just run with one as a secondary. It has access to all the typical muzzles, optics, boosts, and laser LEDs, plus a special stock. Although it may have a lower rate of fire compared to other SMGs at 652, it can pack a punch with its 99 damage, and you won't have to worry about missing with its 52 accuracy and 60 stability. Now back to you, Mr. Random Man.
Thank you, lad. And back to me.
You're an idiot!
Jesus Christ. The PP Bison, or the Pistolet Pulemet Bison, Pistolet, fucking hell, I cannot speak. Is a 9x18 Makarov submachine gun that was developed in 1993 by the Russian company Izmash. The Bison was designed by a team of engineers headed by Viktor Kalashnikov, the son of engineer Mikhail Kalashnikov, or aka the creator of the AK-47, and including the guy that made the Dragunov. Both of them together made the PP Bison, and it was developed at the request of the Russian Ministry of the Internal Affairs, and it's primarily used as a counter-terrorist weapon and law enforcement units that needs a fast and accurate fire at a close range. And so, this is probably my #1 favorite high damage SMGs in the game because it's so great. Like, I love using this. And so, you can unlock this at level 42 and cost $920,000. God fucking damn. Anyway, the PP Bison is a high damage SMG that is, unlike the rest of the SMGs, has the highest amount of magazine size and ammo reserve in the game. Combine this with fully loaded basic. If you don't know what fully loaded basic is, it just practically increases your reserve ammo by a specific number. I think it's like 25% if I'm not mistaken. And so, despite being a high damage SMG, it is extremely capable of killing multiple enemies with only one magazine. Because if you combine full lock and load basic, the one that increases your magazine capacity for SMGs and assault rifles, you will have 79 bullets in your magazine, which is fucking crazy. But hey, let's forget about it. But the only downside about the SMG is the fact that it has a slower rate of fire, the same as the AK-17, and it's not exactly a bulldozer killer, because when you're fighting against a bulldozer, you need to have a weapon that has a high rate of fire and a pretty good damage. Take like the Lion's Roar assault rifle, the Krinkov, and so on and so on. But the Tatanka sort of struggles because it has a slower rate of fire, and it doesn't have the capability of dashing out huge amounts of damage in like a few seconds. And so, it's why I would highly advise you to use this only when there's like a huge crowd of enemies group tucked together, because keep in mind this is a high damage SMG, so it's going to struggle with ammo pickup rate, so you have to be very careful with where you shoot. And another problem about this SMG, it has a slower rate of fire because of the chunky ass magazine that it has. Overall, the SMG is pretty good in this game, and it's perfect for a close quarters combat because of its high ammo capacity and everything. And so you won't have any issue with this. And the concealment of this and the accuracy and the stability of all of it are pretty solid and pretty good. You can also dual wield this bitch if you fucking want to, which is going to be absolutely crazy. I mean the dual wielding version is free, but well, whatever. And so, let's talk about the other things that come with this spec. Let's talk about the melee weapon. Normally, I don't really talk about the melee weapon that really comes with this spec because all of them are pretty fucking boring. But this one is actually really good. This is one of the top 5 best melee weapons in the game. #1 being like the katana and the ice pickaxe. The Reskoyo, or I think in Russian, like Russian to English, it's pronounced sharp, is a very deadly melee weapon. It has a damage of 70, a knockdown of 70, and it has a pretty decent concealment of 29. Well, not decent, but it's just, you know, it's pretty good. Everything about this melee weapon is pretty good. You have a very good swinging speed, you're able to whip it out faster. Everything about this melee weapon is pretty good. It is effective to kill enemies that it is very good to use whenever you're out of ammo, you don't have enough time to reload, and there's like an enemy in front of you. Or you want to lower a bulldozer's health to 50% health. But only use this whenever you're using Bloodlust, the basic. The one where you charge up your melee attack every time you kill someone with your gun. And so, that's pretty much it about this weapon. Oh, another thing I should also mention is that the sound quality on all the weapons, on the Tatanka and the Grom sniper rifle, are pretty good. They sound crunchy. Very crunchy, and I fucking love it. And let's talk about the masks that this pack comes with. You have 3 masks, or, well, not 3, we have 4 of them. The Red Machine, the Matryoshka, the War Balaclava, and the Kokoshnik. All of them are pretty fucking boring, except for the War Balaclava, which is the most goofiest fucking mask I've ever seen in my fucking life, because, good lord, that is the most hideous shit ever. Looks like that mask from Breaking Bad, or some shit. And so, All the masks are like pretty boring except for the water balaclava, which is goofy as shit. But nonetheless, let's forget about the jokingness behind. And overall, the highest, well, not highest, but the weapon pack itself is extremely good and very solid, and has a positive impact on the game. It did not bring any weapons that are like boring or like useless, to say at least, but they brought in weapons that are like very fun and very simple to use, and that actually have a genuine purpose. The AK-17, despite being another high damage rifle, because of its higher magazine capacity and ammo, you're able to use it without having any sort of issue whatsoever. The same thing can be said about the Tatanka, and the Grom is just another low damage sniper rifle that has the capability of being extremely concealable. And the melee weapon this pack comes with is also pretty good. What do I give this pack rating? I would give it a 9 out of 10. It's almost perfect, except for the masks that are like very disappointing, including the Grom sniper rifle. I kind of wish that it was had better stats, but that could just be me. But I'm not a huge fan of sniper rifles, so maybe that could just be me. So yeah, I would say overall the Gage Russian pack is an extremely good pack that has brought in some pretty good weapons and some other nice stuff. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. The next video on Payday 2 is going to be on a perk. And it's going to be a short one. Or at least I'm hoping it's going to be short if the video doesn't take too long. But yeah, that's it. Hope you have a good day. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.